How's it going, guys? Fellow Hawk enthusiasts and motorcyclists in general. Anyone who has these bikes, planning on getting them, this is just a little showcase of my Hawk 250 2023 version RPS. This is not the EFI, this is straight carbureted version. I'm gonna go over a lot of the upgrades I've done to this bike. I've done a lot of upgrades. It's quite ridiculous. It's kind of what comes with the bike. I'm gonna say this at the beginning of the video, that if you want this bike, be prepared to invest a couple $100 more. At most, probably another $50,000 more if you want this bike to run optimally, like the best that it can run without changing the engine. First off, one of the best upgrades, and just helpful for honestly anybody, because even newer bikes, some newer bikes don't even come with a digital gauge, but we got a nice digital gauge cluster. Currently have 459 miles. It's the 2023 version, but I didn't really ride it much until this year. LED bulb. The bike's leaning and everything, but this is a very bright light, as you can see. I wanted to replace these mirrors because the ones that came with the bike were very small. Like, at least small for me. The ball joint to adjust the mirrors, they were way too loose, and there was no way to tighten them because it's a part of the mirror. It was very weak. I would put it the way that I want to put it, and then as I'm driving, because of the wind resistance, it would literally push the mirror into a different position. So I just said, screw it. I'm gonna get bigger mirrors that just extend out a little bit. And these were like ATV / motorcycle mirrors that I slapped on this bike. So these mirrors are great. They don't even move at all once I set them where I want them. It's great. Let's go around the other side of the bike because I have the fender off. Right off the bat, PE28 Nibbi carburetor. We got the pod filter. We got the sock for the pod filter. Slip-on high flow performance exhaust. That is the Bell Parts BHP high performance slip-on exhaust. Makes the bike sound a lot sportier. It probably gives it a few more horsepower. I don't think there's a cat, and if that is a cat, it's a high flow cat. Honestly, this mixed with the Nibbi carburetor in combination, it wakes the bike up completely. The stock carburetor comes with the bike. Everyone changes it. Almost everyone that I know and seen online who get the Hawk, the first thing they replace is honestly the carburetor. I have the main and pilot jet set. I think the main is 120 and the pilot's 42, or the other way around. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done it, but I have tuned that carburetor. I put on a 280 millimeter 1200 load rating rear suspension. Bought it off of Amazon. Almost everything I bought off of Amazon. I'm on the heavier side for riders, so I really needed to find one that was at least 1200 pounds. I weigh about 260. So if you're a 5'8", 260 plus pound guy or around that weight, the lowest suspension load that you can go while also trying to get flat-footed, because I know a lot of people have issues getting flat-footed on this bike. If you're around my weight and my height, I wouldn't go any lower than 280. If you go lower than 280, you're probably gonna bottom out. I already sometimes bottom out this bike, but I mostly use it for on-road, and there's not too many bumps. So it can handle most on-road bumps, but if you're doing like heavy jumps, go over something really, really big, you might bottom out, but it's only for a second. Going any lower than a 280 is very dangerous. I think what the bike comes with initially is a 320, which is huge, and it's very tall for most, average height riders. I put on the NGK Iridium spark plug and the K&S ignition cap. Also wakes up the bike. That's another thing you should replace, is that spark plug. And we got the Shinko tires, front and rear, dual sport, 80% road, 20% trail. I mostly use this to commute to work alongside my car, so I really wanted to get rid of the knobbies, throw on these nice Shinko tires, a very popular upgrade for this bike. Proper dual sport tires, totally less rolling resistance, very good on the pavement. I slapped on a 45 rear sprocket tooth, 45 teeth sprocket in the rear, and we got a 17th sprocket in the front. Definitely for on-road use. You probably gain about an extra 2 to 5 miles per hour just on top-end power, changing out the sprockets. You could probably put 1742 if you really wanted to push the top-end power, but with all the upgrades I've done to this bike, I've pretty much capped out what the performance is capable of, unless I put in a big bore kit in the engine, or I just replace the engine with a different one, but that's kind of complicated because now you're getting into metal fabrication situations, possibly welding, grinding stuff off, possible wiring issues. I did a lot of research trying to figure out if there is a direct, easy swap for the Hawk 250, and that's kind of an arguable situation. There's been a few people that have done it, or a number of people, but not too many. I just feel like with the time and hassle and the money, you're better off just learning on this bike, using this bike for what it's capable of, and then just upgrade to a bigger bike. I feel like changing out the engine completely is not really worth it. But if you really want to keep this Honda pushrod clone engine, I would instead put a big bore kit. This $250 leather seat to try and help with the seat height, because the stock seat is terrible. It has the huge hump. It's really uncomfortable after long rides. A lot of people are afraid to spend $250 on the seat because they think, oh, the humps looks just as big as the stock seat, so it's probably the same uncomfortability. No, it's not. This bike is very comfortable. I've been riding on this. I mean, I can't say I've been riding on it for thousands of miles, but 400 miles on this seat, it's very comfortable. The engine mileage is so new. I'm still breaking in the tires now and the engine, so I have to do frequent oil changes. I'm actually due for an oil change, but I use the Rotella T4 diesel engine oil. It's great, very cheap oil, good for break-in purposes until you move on to full synthetic. Can't see it, but I replaced the front fork oil with 15W fork oil, high performance. I think it's like Bellware. That's the brand, Bellware high performance fork oil, 15W. I'd say if you're a heavier rider, definitely want to replace that fork oil. Honestly, almost everyone that knows about it replaces it, because what comes inside the forks when you buy it, it has this like mystery oil. I mean, you have no idea what the hell it is. I think the rating of it is possibly like 5W, maybe 7. It's extremely light fork oil, and for most riders, that's too light. So I went with 15. That's a good middle ground. It's very, very smooth in the front, really good front suspension. It's really night and day. If you change out that fork oil to 15 or a 10, high performance, proper high quality fluid, I'm telling you, the front suspension is just so good. Drive over potholes fine. You don't feel the road as much. It's great. It's not as spongy and bouncy, but that's number one tip. People trying to get flat-footed or near flat-footed with this bike, change the rear suspension to a 290 or a 280, and you can pick the load rating based off your weight. And also drop front forks. Technically raise. You can raise the front forks too. You should raise the front forks if you're going on a lower rear suspension, because then you're going to have this chopper style while riding, and you don't want that. So you want to match the front fork height with the rear height mostly. Just handles a lot better. It's not as dangerous. So with this seat, it's a low profile seat, 280 millimeter rear suspension, raising the front forks, having nice tactical boots, you can get flat-footed. And another argument too, going back to the filter, a lot of people just modify the original filter and kind of creates like a high flow airbox. The only time, if you don't want to modify anything and you have to choose between keeping the airbox, doing the pod filter, if you're mostly driving on the road and you're not really going out in very wet conditions, I would definitely go with the air filter, the pod filter. Put the sock on it just in case. You never know. It's good protection. It doesn't change the performance of the carburetor. If you're off-roading a lot, you're going in very muddy, wet conditions, very humid conditions, a lot of moisture, then yeah, I would stick with the airbox. And if you really want to push some performance out of it, there's videos on how to modify the airbox to kind of make it a high flow, more performance. But otherwise, if you're mostly doing on-road, I'd just go with the pod filter. And now I'm going to turn the bike on. It's already warmed up, so it'll be easy start. And before I start it, there will be one thing I will say, and a lot of people who have this bike already, or even just in general, will probably be like, why didn't you do it? You have to do it on this bike. What are you doing? You did all this work, but you don't want to do that. The one thing I have not done on this bike yet is the valve lash adjustment. Still waiting for it to break in. And when I have tried to do the valve lash adjustment, because the bike comes really tight on the valves, I can't get it to top dead center. I just can't. I don't know why. I just struggle to get it to top dead center on my own. I'm just leaving it the way it is until the engine's fully broken in, and then I'll adjust it. But the valve lash adjustment adjustment is a very, very big upgrade on this bike. It makes it start up better, it combusts better, everything runs smoother. And almost all motorcycles you have to adjust the valve lash, or otherwise you could really damage the engine. You can get valve float, a lot of issues. So you have to do that adjustment when you get the bike. But let's start this bike now. And probably one of the last things I want to say about this bike, people who have bought this bike or are looking to buy this bike, and if this isn't something you already know, I'm going to tell you. If you're not mechanic savvy at all, and you're not willing to get your hands dirty and really do a lot of upgrades on this bike, I highly recommend that you don't buy this bike, because, you know, I would say with my own DIY hours and work myself, it probably took me about 20 to 25 raw hours of just trying to get everything the way that I want it to be for this bike. And technically, I'm still not even done. I still have to do the engine, the valve lash adjustment. You have to do that like every 1,000 miles anyways, but I haven't done it yet, not even one time. So I still have to touch up this bike. With most of the major upgrades, I've done almost everything, and I'm gonna put a list of all the parts, everything I bought in the description of the video. But please don't look at buying this bike if you don't want to upgrade it. You really don't want to drive it the way it comes stock. Unfortunately, it's just everything about it is just complete garbage. Like you get cheap rubber composite knobby tires that come with it. You get like an analog speedometer that doesn't even read your miles per hour accurately. Like it's completely off. It's like a 10 miles per hour off. I would say I'm still off with the digital gauge cluster. The gauge cluster reads faster than it's actually driving. It's about a 3 to 4 mile per hour difference, but it's a lot better than the analog one. From everything that I've said earlier, from the fork oil, the tires, the speedometer, the carburetor, I had to do a lot to this bike to just try and have it run right. And if you're not willing to, you know, do a lot of modifications on the bike and you don't want to get your hands dirty, don't buy the bike. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, or a lot of people who they just see a bike on Amazon and they're like, oh my God, I can buy a dual sport motorcycle on Amazon, and they order it, and then they realize that there's like 20 plus things that you can do to this bike to make it run way better than it comes stock, because you basically feel like you have to replace everything that the bike comes in besides the freaking fenders. And people replace those too, because the plastic, you know, to the untrained eye, the plastic looks good, but it's actually really cheap. These plastic fenders, this whole plastic kit that comes with the bike, it's really cheap quality plastic, but to the untrained eye, it looks great. And that's another thing I'm going to end up replacing, is just a whole blackout body kit for this bike. I like the white and orange black trim colors, but I kind of just want the bike to be completely black. That's just my preference. But they have other color body kits too. But overall, you know, I might make another video riding this bike. I've had a good experience riding it the times that I did. I would say I put more work working on the bike than riding it, but I'm trying to change that now that I've finally caught up. And oh yeah, one other thing I forgot to mention. When I was talking about doing the sprockets, I also got a bigger chain, but it's a black steel high performance chain. Really nice. You kind of should get a longer chain anyways, because the one that it comes with is just not as good, and it's shorter. So when you play with the sprockets, it might actually kind of be hard to get the chain back on the sprocket when you change the sprocket. So that black steel chain, another good upgrade too. Probably if I were to do any little upgrades, I might change out the clutch lever, maybe change out the gear shifter. This bike is a really great beginner's bike. It won't allow you to go extremely dangerous speeds. It's very forgiving for new riders. It lets you learn. If you're looking for a cheap dual sport, this is a very nice bike to buy if you're willing to do the modifications. But if you're not willing to do the modifications and you drive it the way it comes stock, I'm telling you, you're going to be disappointed. It's not going to be the best it could be. It's not going to perform the best it can. You have to do the modifications. And if you're not willing, don't buy the bike. But bye-bye.